Hello and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name's Rich Tehrani. Thanks for watching us today. This week we are up in Boston, Massachusetts. We're meeting with a number of companies and people in the area. On our program right now is Robert Winters. He is the CMO and co-founder of Shenick. Robert, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rich.
So you're not necessarily based in Boston. You just happen to be here, and we happen to be here, and you were gracious enough to accept our invitation to be interviewed.
Thank you. I guess the timing was good, and glad to be here.
So tell us a little bit about your company.
Shenick Network Systems is involved, broadly speaking, in the test and measurement space. We provide a high-performance, IP-oriented converged network testing environment. So particularly applicable for some of the key technologies starting to appear on the horizon and already in place, such as cloud technologies, next-generation mobile, IP video, voice, and data services testing.
So out of all those segments, which are the standouts in terms of growth?
Right now, the key growth areas would include cloud, obviously a big drive towards virtualization of what would be traditionally physical infrastructure into the cloud. So that's providing some very good test opportunities for Shenick. Also, the drive towards 4G LTE. There is increasing requirements to support high numbers, as you know, of smartphone, iPad users, etc. out there. So that creates big pressure on the networks. Folks need to know in advance what the quality limitations are.
So in terms of some of the trends you're seeing in the market, what have you seen?
So far, I mean, really, obviously towards more of an IP orientation. That's it, first of all. Secondly, we're seeing major trends in the area of video. For example, the way video is delivered. 5 or 6 years ago, it was all about IPTV, and then became IP video on demand, proprietary delivery mechanisms. We're now seeing, of course, the big drive towards over-the-top video, and I think we've got a very interesting year ahead of us in terms of over-the-top video deployments and how those architectures and content delivery mechanisms are realized, and the quality concerns and issues associated with those. And
it's very exciting that it was just yesterday, I believe, that Verizon made their announcement that they're going to compete with Netflix, right, with an over-the-top type
I think
solution.
that's a very interesting announcement, and I think you'll see the same thing coming from a number of other service
Probably,
providers.
yeah, I would say just like any other trend that hits
Absolutely.
The carrier market, like the move to becoming cloud providers.
Yep.
They're going to
It makes a lot of
providers.
sense. They have the infrastructure in place. Why not max it and utilize it to the full extent possible?
It's going to be very interesting to see how that market evolves, especially if there's 50 or 100 players.
For sure.
Competing with Netflix.
Yep, that's definitely going to happen. And then that whole, apart from that content delivery, what's the infrastructure going to look like? So this is where the cloud end of it comes in. So the virtualization of all this technology and pushing all of that into the cloud, combined with content delivery. So you've got a very interesting mix starting to appear in the market.
So in terms of recent developments in your company, news, things like that, what should we know?
Yeah, I mean, from Shenick's perspective, the major news this year was our move from the physical space into the cloud. So we now have an entirely virtualized test solution. The reason for that is that with infrastructure moving towards the cloud, the idea is that you must have virtual machine to virtual machine communication, and the same is true within the test world. So you're losing the physical, say, gigabit or 10 gig interface. That's now replaced with a virtual machine, virtual blades, virtual ports. And so from that then, from our virtualized platform, we can then effectively test things like virtualized firewalls, switches, routers, and various data center migration technologies.
So from Shenick's perspective, customers are watching this, potential customers are watching right now, and they're thinking, okay, well, why would I choose your company over some of the others in the market? What's your response to that kind of question?
Sure. Shenick architected its product from the beginning because we could see the trend towards individual subscriber quality of experience. Basically, these days, it's no longer about, hey, I'm happy enough to have a dropped voice call on my mobile network occasionally. It's about getting video to your iPad, getting top quality, high definition, maybe telepresence services out to the edge. That requires individual level attention to quality. And Shenick has an architecture that provides a per flow perspective on each individual application quality flow in a network under test. So getting that level of per flow granularity gives us really the edge when we're testing these new services, new applications, and new areas of interest.
So not necessarily in aggregate, but per...
The problem with aggregate is that problems can get lost in the aggregate noise, shall we call it. So you need to have a perspective on each individual flow. If you're running, say, a 24-hour test of tens of thousands of, say, smartphones connected into a mobile network, you need to know what percentage of those may have exhibited a problem for 2 hours at 3 o'clock in the morning during a certain test. So having that level of granularity and being able to say, hey, we can confidently say that every user is going to get top quality of experience, that's the level of detail folks need these days. And it's what the end customer is demanding.
What's next for the company?
Well, really, I think it's about more push into the cloud, a further exploitation of the 4G technology. There are other key areas associated with the wider distribution of smartphones being used in the corporate environment. So we're seeing things like highly scalable, secure VPN type testing as well. So the secure VPN from everything from a smartphone through iPads through the telecommuter. We're starting to see that the sheer volume of secure VPN connections increasing. So that's another area that we're focused on.
Excellent. Well, thanks for being on the program today. It was great to see you.
Thank you, Rich. Appreciate it.